Okay, good morning class.
Yes, sir.
So today we're looking at functions and inverse functions. As we know, we try to keep these lessons as short as possible. So if you want this whole explanation here, you can find it in the description box below under full lessons. Okay. So we're looking at functions and inverse functions. We spoke about the definition. So we said the function is a relationship or a rule between two sets, namely the x and y, or your domain and range. Okay, so where every element of the domain is assigned to one and only one element in the range. So we said we get one to many, many to one functions, and then if it's say one to many, it's then considered a relation. Okay, we looked at the definitions as well, and we looked at the parabola graph and how we can restrict the domain of the function so that the range, so that the inverse can be a function. Okay, and we also indicated that we can from your sets or from a table we can see when a function, where relation is considered as a function, means it's a function if it's a one-to-one, a many-to-one. But if it's a one-to-many, it's then not considered as a function. We also spoke about the vertical line test. With the vertical line, if it cuts your, like in this case here, the vertical line cuts your graph twice, so it's not considered a function. Whereas if it cut once, as you can see in the black part there of the graph, it's cutting once, so it will be considered a function. Alright, so people will be looking at example 1. Example 1 is on page . Example 1 is on page 35. Okay, so let's just take this out here. Nope, it's linked. Alright, so let's look at the example. So here we are told that, in this part of the next work, so here we are told, given f of x is equal to negative x squared plus 4. The question says determine f of 0, f of 2, f of minus 2, and use the values to draw the graph of f of x. So the reason why I could do this is by tabulating it with using a table. So that's x and f of x, of course. Okay. So the values you got is negative 2, 0, and 2. So if I put f of 0, so that's going to give me negative 0 squared plus 4. We answer 4. F of minus 2, so it's minus 2 squared plus 4. So minus 2 squared is positive 4. Becomes minus 4, and minus 4 plus 4 is 0. So there's 0. So now we say f of 2. So it's negative 2 squared plus 4, which also gives you 0. Okay, as you can see, this is enough information to draw the graph. Not so. If I consider the coordinates of this will simply be negative 2 and 0. Then it would be 0 and 4, as well as 2 and 0. Okay. So if I draw that graph, x and y is 1, 2, minus 1, minus 2. 0, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So if x is negative 2, y is 0. If x is 0, y is 4. If x is 2, y is 0. What type of graph are we drawing here? X squared. What type of graph is this? Parabola, yes, or quadratic function. So there is that graph. Okay, you guys understand? Let's look at the second part of the question. Number 2 says, use your graph to decide the type of relation that f of x represents and whether it is a function or not. Alright, so what we do is, we use our vertical line test. We said, when we read through the notes, we said that, the vertical line test, we said that There are two ways, although there's more than two ways. There's many ways to check if something is a function. But what I said, the easiest way to check if something is a function is by using the vertical line test. So if you take this here, if the graph cuts the vertical line at one point only anywhere along the curve, then it's considered to be a function. So is this a function? Yes. Why? Because it passes the vertical line test. But what type of function is this? If I consider this point here, let's say you got minus 1 and 1. You go minus 1, gives me an answer of 3. So there's actually I here. Okay, as we know, the graph is not drawn to scale. So there's 3 and 1. Can you see that, people? So this is there's 2 x's and how many y's? 1 y. So this would be considered a many to 1 function. Do you guys understand? Right, so let's answer the question quickly. So now the second part of the question says, use your graph to decide whether the type of relation represents a function or not. So it's a function. Why is a function? It passes the vertical line test. And what type of function is it? It's a many to 1 function or relation. Okay. In number 3, the question says, number 3, write down the domain and the range of f of x. People, what do we know about this domain? This graph is going all the way to negative x, negative infinity. And it's going all the way to positive infinity. So what does that mean? So the domain of f, we say x is an element of all real numbers. Let's look at the range. This graph is going all the way to negative infinity. Not so. Bring up, where does this graphic stop existing at? 4. So in other words, it's 4 or less. So in other words, the range of f, 4 has to be.
Or the relay motor 1, can you please report to the office? Or the relay motor 1, can you please report to the office?
Right. Any confusion there, people? Okay. So for homework, I would like you guys to do exercise 1. I want you guys to do exercise 1 for Monday. Okay. I'm going to do the recording of that lesson as well. Okay, of that exercise. All right.